All right. Hello, Plus Me family. Welcome back to another Our Stories Matter Feature Friday segment where we interview community members and center the conversation around the theme of the week. And this is the concluding week for Our Stories Matter and the final Feature Friday interview. And it's basically helping to reiterate why our stories matter. Why did we begin this in the first place? So for our Feature Friday interview, we have Walter Marlowe, who is a retired financial advisor, and he also serves on our board of directors. So thank you, Walter, for being our Feature Friday interview.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to hop right into it with the first question. So when reflecting on your story or your journey, what emotions come up for you?
I have to say, unfortunately, vanity plays a role. Pride is certainly one emotion that comes up. Okay. Then gratitude, and I really mean it. I'm grateful for a lot of things, to God, to people who have helped me along the way, to my family. So yeah, that's gratitude. Then the other emotion, I'm not sure it's an emotion, but when I think back upon my life, sometimes it's exhaustion. And I think, how did I have the energy? How did I have the aggressiveness to do these things? It was great. I'm glad I did. But boy, I don't have it now, I can tell you. But, the pride bit, that's vanity, certainly that's vanity. But I think one of the reasons we need to have pride in what we do, given that they deserve it, of course. And I think in telling our stories, examining our own stories, it is useful to be proud of positive accomplishments, because those are the things that further motivate us to do things for ourselves, our family, our community. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I think you're right on target to be able to reflect on your life and feel a sense of pride. I think that definitely is a blessing. And one of the reasons why we do what we do at Plus Me. And when you mentioned exhaustion, it's like when you look back and you're like, how did I do that? How did I actually navigate through this time? It's like, how did I, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I can definitely understand the exhaustion part. For my next question, what about your story makes you proud?
A couple of things, to be honest. One, I set some goals. It's a very odd story. I can tell it to you, but it's so silly. But I set some goals as a teenager, and I achieved them. And they were, some of them were kind of silly, superficial, but frankly, they meant a lot to me. Yeah. And I guess you could say they were a springboard for accomplishing more meaningful things. Okay. So it was accomplishing some goals that I had set early on. The other thing is, I think I worked hard. I did some things I'm not 100% proud of, but I think most of the time I acted responsibly, decently. I was a stand-up guy for the people who worked for me. I also feel I'm happy to say I think I led a reasonably full life, and I'm glad of that, because at my age, I don't want to look back and think, oh, gee, I should have done this. So I'm glad. I think I led a reasonably full life. I think those are the important things when I think back. The key accomplishments, and my children, my grandchildren. I think, again, I was always what my father taught me to be in Brooklyn, a stand-up guy. And it hurts sometimes, but it's good. You can look at your face in the mirror when you shave as a man and not have to turn away. Yeah. Okay. So yes.
No, I think that's great. I'm glad that you shared that, and you're talking about your accomplishments, and that is something that can make you proud, and it's something that should make you proud. You mentioned your family as well, and talking about how maybe you did some things that maybe you look back on and you're like, you know what, I could have done something
Yeah,
better. And
for
I
sure.
think that's for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think so. Yeah.
right. And I think it's part of what makes the journey a little bit interesting. And it's how you
Yeah, and
grow and
I think it's
evolve.
the reality of life. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, I think the thing is, it's knowing when it's just not right.
Hmm.
Okay, and you can be a bit Machiavellian and find a lot of room underneath that. But there, as long as you know what the limits are about what's reasonable, decent, fair. Yeah.
Right. And you knew I guess what your main focus was to be this stand-up guy and,
It
to
was that
be,
was very important to me.
yeah. And I think you're doing it. So that's good.
Thank you.
For my next
Yeah.
question, what do you want your legacy to be?
Okay, I have to say that I had cause to think about this weekend. My mother said to me when I was, I don't know, 9, 10 years old, and I've just never forgotten it. She told me that you should try to like everyone. And if you can't, you have to respect everyone.
Hmm.
And I really think I can say that, whatever ups and downs, goods or bads, I have just always respected everyone. Okay. That really meant everything to me. And that was always the line I was not going to step over because
Hmm.
my mother told me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think my daughters, my grandsons, are my legacy in many ways. But yeah, I think that that piece of advice from my mother that I did do that, and I
Yeah.
want I've told that to my daughters and my children, my daughters and my grandsons, and I hope they will do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's good. I think that's a good part of your legacy to pass down. And it's similar to what my mother always told me about the golden rule, which is
Yeah.
do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm always amazed, I must say. I mean, every major religion has the golden rule, everyone, okay? But I find it quite extraordinary when many people who represent themselves as being religious really can't even see how they are absolutely not doing
Right.
that.
Right.
It's not
Right.
like it's a real difficult thing to get your mind correct. Yeah, anyway. So,
No, I think that's true. And I think, people really standing by the philosophies that they claim to live by,
yeah,
is important for
yeah,
sure.
very, very.
Very important. So
Yeah.
that'll be a good part of your legacy, Walter, for sure. And my last question is, why do our stories matter?
Okay, I think they clearly matter to us ourselves because it is a chance to examine your life,
Mhm.
think about what makes a difference to you, what you want to accomplish. And hence, you've got the ability now, you've got a bit of a roadmap about how to do it. You know that every self help book ever written will tell you that you've got to write goals down. Otherwise, they don't get done, they don't get achieved. So, doing your story is in effect writing those goals down, but in a way where you also reflect on all the things that you are, have experienced, want to do, and that's important. Now, I think for other people, it's important because I think it gives them a guide
Mm,
about what they should do. And in some cases, it may inspire other people. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think writing your story down, reviewing your story is important for yourself, and it can be without you even knowing how this is going to happen. It can be very important to somebody else who hears that story. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So no,
agree.
yeah, I think it does. I think it does. And I think when you're young, I come from a privilege. I told you, I come from a privileged background, but I had loads of identity problems. And I tell you, if there had been a plus me when I was 15 and I had, done the journal, I'd have been a lot better off, a lot faster,
Mm,
okay, in terms of being able to think sensibly about what I am and what I want to do. Yeah.
mm,
So I
mm.
think it's very important, very beneficial.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
I didn't know. I think I'm right on the same page with you. I mean, your story is, a written tapestry of your life, and you never know how it can help someone else. And
Absolutely.
we spend so much of our work here at Plus Me doing our best to convince our students that their story, which is their life, it matters,
Oh, yeah.
that it's worth sharing,
Oh, yeah.
not just for them and understanding who they are, but to help others around them. So
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you said that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was it. that was. I'm very sad to see our Feature Friday segment come to a close, but the work at Plus Me continues. So I want to say thank you to everyone who has been a part of the Our Stories Matter community journaling campaign. Thank you for your words of encouragement. Thank you for taking time to do the activities in the journal. We really hope that it served you during this time of COVID, and that you were able to reflect in ways that you hadn't before. So I thank you for your time. Thank you again, Walter. And the journey continues with Plus Me.
Sure does.
It sure does. Bye,
Well, thank
everybody.
you.